Episode 6, Judaism, the ancient scapegoat ritual and the curse of Azazel. Greetings and welcome back, my amazing viewers. Before we begin today's story, I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting this channel. Many of you are watching but not subscribing, so please, if you enjoy these stories of myths, legends, gods, heroes, horrors, and true events, take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe. As many of you know, I am physically disabled and unable to work. This channel is my only way to support my family. Your support truly means everything. Now, let us begin. There is a ritual in ancient Judaism that is rarely spoken of today, a ritual older than kingdoms, older than temples, older than sin itself. A ritual called the scapegoat ceremony. Once a year a goat was chosen, hands were placed on its head, and every sin of the people was spoken into its body. Then the goat was sent into the desert into the hands of Azazel, a mysterious being described in ancient texts as a fallen watcher, a wilderness spirit, a creature of chaos. But what happens if the ritual is performed incorrectly? Tonight's story is about the village of Beth Dara and the year the scapegoat returned. Beth Dara was a small Judean village surrounded by hills and desert winds. For generations, the people had performed the scapegoat ritual during Yom Kippur, a day of atonement, purification, and release. But this year, their high priest Eliar was old and frail. His hands trembled, his memory faded, and the villagers whispered, "If the ritual is not done properly, Azazel will come." Eliar's apprentice, a young man named Yonah, tried to reassure them, "Have faith, the ritual has never failed." But deep inside, Yonah feared they were right. On the morning of the ceremony, the villagers brought 2 goats, one pure white for God, one dark and scarred for Azazel. The white goat would be sacrificed in holiness. The dark goat would carry the sins of the people into the desert. Eliar placed his shaking hands on the dark goat. He whispered, "All sins of this village be carried away." But he made a mistake. He forgot to recite one of the ancient protections. He forgot the words that sealed the gate between the village and the wilderness of Azazel. No one noticed except the desert. Yonah led the scapegoat into the deep sands, miles from the village. Tradition said, once the goat crossed a certain ridge, it would vanish, claimed by Azazel. But this time, the goat stopped, turned, and stared at Yonah with eyes that seemed almost human. Its breath turned cold. Steam rose from its nostrils, though the desert was burning. Then it walked backward, strangely, unnaturally, as if being pulled by unseen hands. Yonah felt a chill run up his spine. He whispered a prayer. The goat bolted, disappearing behind the dunes. Yonah sighed with relief and began walking home. But by evening, the goat would return. My dear viewers, if you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps this channel grow and helps me support my family. Now, back to the story. Night fell. The villagers gathered for the closing prayers. Suddenly, the dogs began howling. The ground trembled lightly, and from the darkness beyond the village fence came the sound of hooves, slow, heavy, uneven. Yonah's heart froze. The dark goat stepped into the torchlight, but it was changed. Its eyes were no longer brown, they glowed ember red. Its fur dripped with black dust. Its horns were cracked and burning faintly at the tips, and its hooves left footprints of soot. It had come back. The villagers panicked. Eliar whispered in horror, "Azazel has rejected the offering." The goat opened its mouth and breathed out a voice that was not its own, a deep, resonant voice, ancient, wrathful. "Your sins are yours. You cannot cast them on the innocent." The torches flickered violently, and the creature charged. The goat's body struck the ground, but its shadow moved separately, tall, distorted, with long limbs and spreading wings. Yonah stared in terror. Azazel was not the goat. Azazel was what rode inside it. the shadow whispered, once in remains unconfessed. And it binds me to you. Eliar collapsed to his knees. Tears fell down his wrinkled face. I hid the truth, he choked. The villagers gasped. Eliar revealed his secret. Years ago, a famine struck Beth Dara. He kept extra grain for himself while families starved. He had never confessed it. He had buried the guilt, and that hidden sin had poisoned the scapegoat ritual. Azazel's shadow grew larger, hungry. Chains of darkness wrapped around the villagers' feet. Yonah stepped forward. Take me, he said. Eliar is old. I will carry the sin. The shadow paused, then it laughed softly. A burden must be carried by the one who created it. Azazel reached for the old priest. Yonah grabbed the dark goat's horns and shouted an ancient prayer by the name that cleanses all. I break the chain. The goat screamed a horrible, distorted sound. The shadow recoiled. The torches exploded into blue flames. Yonah continued praying, louder, stronger. The villagers joined him. Their voices rose in unison. Wind blasted across the village. Sand swirled like a storm. Azazel's shadow writhed, shrinking, until it collapsed back into the goat. The creature fell onto its side, trembling. Then it lay still. The red glow in its eyes faded. Only the goat remained exhausted but alive. The curse had been broken. Eliar confessed his sin publicly and begged forgiveness from the villagers and in ancient tradition. The people forgave him. Together they performed the ritual again, this time with purity and truth. The new scapegoat walked into the desert peacefully. It never returned. Beth Dara slept safely that night, the curse lifted, the shadow gone. Yonah became the next high priest, remembered forever as the one who stood before Azazel. Thank you for watching, my dear viewers. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps this channel grow and helps me support my family. Join me in the next episode as we explore even more mystical rituals from around the world. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, some rituals must never be forgotten.